Look closely at your last pay stub. When you see that block of income carved out for taxes, the natural reflex is to assume you're chipping in for your local community. You picture schools, parks, and fire departments. State and local levies do cover the majority of physical infrastructure, the roads you drive on and the utilities you plug into. But federal taxes operate on a completely different scale. This diagram illustrates where federal revenue actually travels. The flow of capital mirrors the flow of calories through a biological organism. In a healthy system, energy intake converts into muscle growth and cellular repair. The body processes fuel to strengthen its structure and expand its capabilities. Our current systemic infrastructure has moved past that phase of growth. It has outgrown the architecture that once made it beneficial to the environment it inhabits. Crumbling bridges and climbing tax rates serve as markers of a system requiring maximum energy merely to keep itself on life support. In biology, a system engineered to extract and redirect energy from a host without providing nourishment in return is called a parasitic metabolism. In this ecosystem, citizens function as the basic food cells. They generate the raw calories required to keep the larger organism from collapsing. The coordinated actions of the state mimic an apex predator stalking its environment. It hunts purely to secure its next meal, completely ignoring the cultivation of the soil it stands on. Every ounce of harvested energy goes straight to internal triage. The organism scrambles to repair its own failing organs rather than building outward. Symbiosis is gone. The organism's sole metabolic function is continuous resource extraction to delay its own expiration date. This is why traditional taxation struggles to keep up. Direct taxes act as a very minor debt deficit deduction mechanism, barely scratching the surface of what the body requires. Look at this metabolic cycle. Taxes act like a small dose of protein, biologically insufficient. To close the gap, it ingests empty carbohydrates, printing fiat money to artificially spike the energy meter. The system degrades, developing a chemical reliance on these spikes to maintain a pulse. This artificial diet completely severs the organism's survival mechanisms from the actual health of the host economy. It doesn't care if the host shrinks as long as the internal meter reads full. Money printing functions as a survival mechanism of last resort. When the body can no longer extract sufficient nutrients, it triggers a metabolic panic, burning through artificial reserves to prevent immediate cardiac failure. A healthy, well-designed system runs clean. It requires minimal fuel to sustain basic, everyday operations. So the diagnostic question becomes mathematical. What happens to a highly inefficient, non-regenerative organism when the host's energy supply finally flattens out? It triggers an energy famine. When external extraction fails, the parasitic system turns inward and begins to cannibalize its own healthy tissue. Systemic collapse follows the strict biological law of an organism outgrowing its environment's carrying capacity. Attempting to fix this through minor tax tweaks and superficial budget cuts addresses the symptoms while ignoring the pathology. We are observing an end-stage biological entity that has entirely outlived its architecture. Apply this diagnostic lens the next time you look at government spending, inflation metrics, or tax hikes. Watch how the organism feeds. Until society recognizes this parasitic metabolism for what it is, citizens will remain trapped as expendable fuel, burned up by a machine consumed entirely with keeping itself on life support.